About 3:30 in the morning. You have like 3 more hours until sunrise. And welcome back to New Cammack. In the last session, our gang attacked a group of ghouled mimes who were stealing discarded equipment at a recycling center. Darby bungee jumped out of a helicopter and shot one of them out of a sense of obligation, completely misunderstanding his position as the city's sheriff as being equivalent to mortal law enforcement rather than as the prince's personal enforcer, which is how the Camarilla defines its vampire sheriff position.
Well, there's a new sheriff in town now.
Archibald, Augustyn, and Excavo, for reasons that were never made clear, also attacked these three non-threatening and rather friendly mimes. The result was 2 dead mimes, one of which had Archibald's sledgehammer buried in his chest cavity, and the third mime dragging the bodies of his companions into their van of amazing savings, which these mimes drive around in. The escape of the surviving mime was aided by the intervention of a pair of illusory police cars, which faded out of view the moment Excavo tried to touch them. The illusion wasn't explained, but Archibald spotted a 4th mime, ominously observing from a distance while they were present. Also, I'd like to recap that despite there being so many reasons why Darby stealing a helicopter, flying it across the city, and leaving the cockpit to bungee jump out of it should have resulted in an absolute catastrophe. But it just didn't. Darby had extraordinarily good rolls and made some random guesses that were exactly right, and despite all odds, no disaster happened. Life, baby. But it's another session, so we'll see.
I'm sure that level of recklessness will continue to pay exactly the same dividends. I'm going to keep it up.
I feel like you are trying to push Darby's recklessness to the breaking point where something terrible will happen, and it's maybe a little disappointing that it's always worked out. However, due to confusing text messages that the gang sent to Darby, followed by mocking text messages, something seems to have broken in his brain. After a brief hella tantrum, where he was chasing the group's Escalade in his helicopter, he went silent and choppered off into the night. As of now, Darby's whereabouts are unknown, and we begin our session at Darby Manor, where the others have arrived.
So when somebody says, like, helicopter, does that just mean it's, like, a lot of copter?
It's a really good copter.
Like, that's
really
helicopter.
Cool.
It's something that copts really well.
Okay. That's true. Okay. With our last few hours here, I would love to go to the late night chessboard store. Because it has occurred to me...
Are we going to figure out how to play chess?
I'm Googling that. Hang on. Walmart, it says here. Walmart.
Yeah. I think my character is canonically like an accomplished chess player. But I don't think since being kidnapped, I have never actually bought a chessboard. Though there was probably already one in Darby Manor, right?
There was.
Actually,
the one that
he was using. Okay, I'll just take that one then.
We got kidnapped like, what, a week ago?
I think the game has been, I think we played out 2 weeks. It started April 22nd, and it is May 2nd.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Almost 2 weeks, I think. So as you pull up to Darby Manor in your Escalade, you notice 2 things. You notice that Darby's helicopter, well, the group's helicopter, but it might as well be considered Darby's helicopter, is not there. And you don't hear it anywhere nearby, unless if, Darby, do you happen to be just hovering it near Darby Manor for some reason?
No, not menacing the manor.
And 2, you notice the short revenant who is by hand pulling the bat signal trailer down the driveway and parking it next to your vehicles. You notice that the short revenant looks a little different than he did the last time you spotted him. He now has a long, scraggly beard, and he's wearing a miner's helmet with a light on it, and overalls, and a plaid shirt, and boots, and several handkerchiefs just hanging out of his pockets. And he's just absolutely head to toe speckled with blood. The revenant walks up to Excavo and pops off the wireless camera that Excavo attached to him as a body cam, and does this little flourish, sort of a thank you gesture, and then turns to Archibald and says, "Sir Prince, your quest bequeathed unto me has been henceforth avenged. The prospector camp has been educated."
Augustyn, when you've been over at the Chantry, have you been talking to this one?
My good man, I know not a word of what comes out of this gentleman's mouth.
I think he's picked up some of your affectations. Anyway, thank you, Batman, for bringing, your signal and taking care of business and
Working overtime?
helping the educational system of New Cammack. As your prince, I deem you superintendent of New Cammack Public Schools.
He nods.
I give him like a button or something.
Like the gravity of it is not hitting him. Whatever that's supposed to mean, he's just like, yep. And he takes out a handkerchief and he wipes off his face, and he wipes off his hands, which, again, covered in blood, and extends his hand and says, "What a glorious honor to impart upon me." And he attempts to shake your hand.
I shake it solidly, firmly. Do I have to roll for that?
No. You do get a little bit of blood on you, though.
Oh, gross. Okay.
Is it like ooh, triggering?
Is
Oh,
it
no,
human?
not
So
particularly.
we're just going to assume and be okay with that he murdered everyone. We're not going to I'm not here. You know what? You guys do it. You guys do it.
Hey,
I'm
Darby.
checking out this footage.
Darby, I listened. I listened to what he said right now. He said he educated them.
He asked, "Is there anything else that you require of me, sir?"
My good man, for posterity's sake, would you regale us with a recanting of your endeavors at said camp in greater detail?
That's okay. We can just watch the footage.
Yeah, and he gestures to the camera. He's like, "Well, and deprive the camera of its purpose?"
Your logic is inarguable. Thank you for your commitment to the cause.
He turns around and starts walking away, just like into the tree line. You hook up the camera to a laptop and you view the footage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this is what you see. You see, Excavo, you see yourself attaching the camera to it, and you turned it on. And the Revenant turn around and walking down a sidewalk and spending a while just kind of walking across town into the Prospector camp. And once he hits the trees and gets to the edge of the Prospector camp, he just starts like walking without even stopping, just like grabbing stuff out of tents and putting on all the right clothes to look like a miner. And you hear this weird sort of squeaky scratching kind of sound, and you see the view of the camera being partially obscured by a big scraggly beard that he's apparently just growing by sheer will out of his face.
Like, actively, like...
That's a cool trick.
It's a very cool trick.
And he approaches the camp of prospectors, and they're all sitting around a fire, eating beans and telling stories. One of them's got a harmonica. And the Revenant interrupts them and tells them that abruptly that he wishes to join them. And they are a little skeptical at first. And they're like, well, we'll accept anybody that wants to join our way of life and contribute to our cause here. But there are the trials. And they explain that these prospectors, you have to go through 3 trials. You have to prove yourself in 3 ways before they will accept you. And the Revenant's like, yeah, bring it on. I'll do it. But he says it all weird. And the trials are... you have to fill a minecart to the top in an hour. You have to make the group a delicious improvised meal, and you have to tell a story at the campfire. Because the most important things are working, eating, and socializing, according to them. So he mumbles something and immediately carts a minecart into the mine, and using his crazy revenant strength, tears up the walls, fills up the minecart in 10 minutes. And he brings the minecart back out. He's like, "Oh, verily, I have occupied your vessel with these stones." And they admit no one's ever done that before. No one's ever done it in an hour. They're not supposed to. They just want to see that you'll make the effort. And they think it's bizarre and impressive that this dude is able to pull it off. But they say, still can't be part of our group if you can't make a delicious improvised meal. And he says, "Verily, the most succulent he says an Augustyn thing. And wanders off into the forest, and you see him kind of foraging around in the brush. And after maybe 20 minutes, he has assembled an owl pellet stew with a raccoon sauce base garnished with wild chives and served in a mushroom bowl. And everyone's skeptical, but they try it, and everyone loves the meal. It's unorthodox, but they're like, oh, that must be something foreign from whatever other country we are convinced you must be from. And finally, they say, hey, you have to tell a story at the campfire. Something compelling, something that is going to entertain us. And the Revenant says, "Since the dawn of humanity, there has been a shared delusion of which I must forthrightly disabuse you of. In the same way dying people hallucinate religious imagery, cromulently healthy people under certain circumstances see the same non-existent person. If your mind-bread begins to mold from stress and lack of leadership, you will succumb to seeing this phantasm." One of the prospectors says, "Lack of leadership is right. We just kicked out that good-for-nothing Jasper." The Revenant says, "If you have the wisdom, you will come to know me as your Lord and Master and personal Savior. Forsooth, I ask of you, do any of you believe you have seen this man?" And he holds up a sheet of thick cardstock with an impressively accurate portrait of Archibald standing beside a school desk with a foot up on the chair holding an apple. And he says, "Who among you has seen Archibald Alvins?" And all of the prospectors raise their hands. And the Revenant says, "Under my equine tutelage as your new master, I will protect you from falling victim to this delusion anymore. Archibald isn't real and has nary ever existed." And there's a long pause. And one of the prospectors says, well, how can he possibly not exist? He was here for Onion Jack's memorial. He brought Jack's body. And the Revenant says, the visions of a sick mind are capable of such verisimilitude. One of the prospectors says, I don't believe you. Earlier, I saw Archibald with his friends, and that one old guy that he's with these days lunged at me. Like I just saw Archibald, and he was just as real as the other people he was with. The other people were talking to him. The Revenant says, perchance only one man sees an Archibald. Who's to say what it really was? But if a group of man sees an Archibald, then that proves that none of them did. This prospector replies again, but like, how come we all saw the exact same person and know his name? What evidence do you have that he's not real? The Revenant says, such as wheretofore a young whelp might inquire about Santa of Claus, or the Teeth Fairy.
Such as wheretofore.
When you were a child, you spoke as a child, understood as a child, and thought as a child. But you have become a man, and it is time to put away the childish belief in Archibald. And it looks like gradually as he's saying this, the prospectors around him are, some of them are, they're like nodding in understanding. And I did a series of rolls to determine how successful this was going to be. And this is how it played out. That same prospector that was skeptical says, he points at the Revenant and says, does this fellow know Archibald? Guys, he must have some agenda. This doesn't make any sense. The Revenant says, tell me, do you see Archibald now? Do you think he's going to appear and prove me wrong-headed? I can tell that some of you are harrowed by this revelation and are beginning to see him now. And one of the other prospectors says, oh, I see him! I see him! I saw his face in the bark of that tree. By God, it's true! The other prospector says, okay, guys, Archibald is real, and this little dude is up to something weird. He cooks a mean stew and can mine like a maniac, but guys, we need to kick him out. The Revenant says, if you cannot see the light, I have Skittledeck more to say to convince you. It's up to your smarter and more handsome peers to keep you from becoming personal, not gratis. You wouldn't want your friends to have to turn on you. And another prospector says, look, Milton, it's fine that you're embarrassed. We used to think Archibald was real too. Just admit that you're wrong, and this doesn't have to get ugly. The other prospector says, okay, I was wrong. I must be wrong. I don't know how I'm wrong, but you've convinced me. There never was an Archibald. And then there's suddenly an eruption of rapturous applause as the miners throw their hats and helmets into the air and embrace that guy, Milton, in a giant group hug, and several of the prospectors are crying. But a voice at the edge of the camp causes their heads to turn. It's Jasper Boggs, who was their foreman before Augustyn used the Devil's Touch ritual to make the prospectors hate him. Jasper says, well, hi, folks. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to pick up some of my things and hopefully make amends with you. Maybe I don't say enough about how much all of you truly do mean to me. You've become like a family to me over these years, and I'd hate for anything to come between us. Sorry I've been gone for a day. I've just been burying my brother Jack. You know, that fella Archibald was nice enough to dig a grave at his own house for Jack. It was nice spending time with Archibald. He's a real nice guy. And there's a long pause in which no one moves nor makes a sound. Jasper looks at the group silently with a puzzled expression. Then the revenant raises his arm to point at Jasper and says, "Destroy the heretic!" The prospectors descend on Jasper, tearing him limb from limb and showering the area in blood. Jasper's last words are, "Who's that guy? I'm so confused!" In the chaos, the revenant simply wanders back out of the camp, not saying another word to the prospectors, and you see him go to the Abbott family abattoir and grab the bat signal and cart it across town to Darby Manor. And then you take the camera from him. End scene.
That was beautiful, man.
Wow.
It's like a whole short story just nestled in. It was great.
I have to say that when Archibald dispatched this guy to do this, I assigned an infinitesimal chance that anything positive would happen at all. That it would just be a total and complete failure first and disaster second. So this outcome is completely flabbergasting to me, Steve, the player. Wow. Amazing.
So the way the rolls went, I could show you at the way I set it up, but he had 3 dice for this roll, 2 manipulation, 1 subterfuge, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prospectors to convince. It started at standard difficulty, and every time he had to re-roll to try to convince a still skeptical prospector, difficulty went up by 1. On the last roll with 1 holdout, it was difficulty 10. Prospector managed to nail that roll by rolling a 10 and did in fact convince all of the prospectors fairly. But then Jasper came and it played out that way. And Jasper is now dead.
That's a way to write off a character.
Oh,
Whole
my
Uncle Jack
God.
family.
That was beautiful. That was poetry.
So we gotta be careful around the prospector camp because they'll start wigging out.
I don't know how they would react to
Well, you don't
seeing-
need-
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
turn
don't
this
take
into our
Archibald.
favor.
Ooh.
All right, so a reminder about what is coming next. You have about 3 more hours until the sun rises. Once you go to sleep and wake up, you are expecting all of the beds from the bed store to be shipped to... Oh, no, I think like 2 beds are being shipped, and you're supposed
2
to
beds.
go back to the bed store to buy the rest of the beds. Also...
But are you going to buy them?
Credit card. Also, like...
I mean, are you actually going to do it? Or are you
Oh,
going to
oh.
renege on your deal?
Oh,
No.
hell no. These mortal fools?
Oh.
Oh, hell no.
Uh-oh.
And you're going to have about a half an hour between waking up and the 9 o'clock chess date. And then 2 hours after that, there's supposed to be a Nuker Tech date at Club Wonderland. And that's what's up.
All right.
Darby does not return to Darby Manor.
Do we want to switch over to Darby and see what he's doing?
I'm down with that.
Sure, up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, he had just landed the chopper at the airfield, and he pissed, like fuming hot, and compensating immediately by like destroying his supply of meth blood. Like I think we've established in canon, I have some like meth infested blood samples so I can use. And so now I don't, because I have used them all. And I'm just like on a full on bender with my new best friend, Chopper Dave, who is also ripped out of his gourd.
Could you
meth.
remind us, from
And-
Darby's perspective, what the thing was that infuriated him?
Sure. So Darby had like left the scene of the mime fight after his heroics, and was like summoned back because his party was in danger. Like they needed his help, and he got a text like requesting that he turn the chopper around and come back. And he gets back, and like the conflict is over, and then he just like sees his car as they're like driving away, and he knows that they're there, and they still like send him an additional text about how they're in trouble still. And then Darby menaces them with the helicopter, and at a particularly startling juncture, just shuts it all down. Just no response, no nothing, icy cold, and he hits her with a K, and he flies away. And that's the last anybody has seen of Darby, who we now know has gone back to the airfield for a late night bender with Chopper Dave.
Yeah, this is on me. I didn't know he would act this way. I didn't know it would be this extreme. I don't know.
I find it curious that Chopper Dave just despite being on meth himself, doesn't find it abnormal whatsoever that, like, not only are you not sharing with him whatever your supply is, but your supply also just happens to be red liquid.
No, Darby had just straight up meth in a bag that he was offering to Dave.
I don't know how much you can see because they're in two different helicopters. That's another thing.
Got you.
Doing some maneuvers to like, I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I think from your all's perspective, you'll see Darby at the start of the next night. He will return the helicopter to Darby Manor, and we can role play what you like notice about his personality. But yeah, this was an impactful moment for Darby.
Does anyone try to contact Darby?
We already took his bed that we bought, or is that one of the ones being shipped?
He has the Batmobile bed.
Yeah, the race car bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I say I'm sorry?
Would Excavo feel sorry?
Yes. I would probably play it off as like, if like I don't see him and we're like, hours away from sunrise, I would probably say, I was just kidding.
So Darby receives "I was just kidding" from Excavo.
Just JKing.
So you see like the little dots.
Oh no, you're gonna ghost me.
Like he was thinking about sending something
right.
back, and then nothing.
I'm also pretty impatient. Like whatever, turn the phone off.
All right, well, back to Darby Manor. Is anyone doing anything else to get ready for tomorrow?
So I think I don't know Archibald's chess skills very well, but I do have some technology that could help him.
Help him cheat?
Trying to figure out like how to possibly be playing an AI and looking for better moves and being able to feed that information to him during the game if he needs it. So I
Don't
do
need
offer
it.
that to him. Don't need it?
Don't need it.
It's like I myself am not a huge chess player, but I'm like, maybe I could like get some moves from like testing out different moves on different games and sharing what would be the best.
Wasn't someone accused recently in the news, some pro chess player accused of cheating with like a wireless vibrating butt plug?
Yep.
Hans Niemann.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
How?
I mean, a real accusation.
How do you get the knowledge that way?
Well, I think the idea is it would pass it wouldn't be obvious. It would pass inspection. And it could be operated by someone who is watching the game and using a computer to figure out what the next move should be.
Oh, and maybe he reaches for one and it's like, nope.
Yeah, like not that different from some
Oh my
devices
God.
that some people use for counting cards in blackjack.
Oh, no.
Like in the shoe or whatever.
Mm.
Did they prove that to be the case, or is that just like the running theory?
It was an accusation because I think the guy's winning pattern was really suspicious, and people were like, well, how could he possibly be cheating? And one of the ideas is like, I've got it.
The inciting event was a game where he beat the best player in the world and wasn't even excited about it. And then the next time he played the best player in the world just resigned because he thought he was a cheater.
After like two moves.
2 moves and resigned immediately. And then that blew up because that's...
And this is Magnus Carlsen, like
Magnus Carlsen, the greatest
long-standing
living
world
chess player.
champion. Yeah.
Was it ever proven that somebody was cheating in this
So
way?
he was proven
Wasn't.
to have cheated online.
When he was like 16 or something.
Pretty
like that,
convincingly,
like ages ago.
and had like apologized about it, kind of admitted to the online cheating. And then the insinuation was because of how he acted and some of the play itself that he cheated in person too. And unclear. Hasn't been like definitively proven that he cheated in person.
Huh.
Well, this also canonically happened in the game world,
Like,
just in case it
Well, it
matters.
hasn't happened yet.
Well,
It'll
in this
be
year,
like
he's
a
practicing
year from now.
the butt plug
Right.
thing.
He's practicing.
He's working on his cheating techniques.
So I'm like, I want to make sure that we win. So if there's a way I can help, there we go. But if not, like, oh gosh, I have to trust him. I don't like this.
Well, are there things that people are doing to prepare for tomorrow? Or is it just like, we're chilling at home and then we're going to sleep?
As part of my meth-fueled rage, I'm just like lifting heavy shit and essentially breaking the masquerade, but showing off for Chopper Dave. I'm just trying to establish my ascension to a different level of strength that is eminent here. So I'm starting to get just real juiced up with how angry I am, and the limits.
Yeah, you share your meth with Chopper Dave, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Do
yeah.
you have meth, or is it just meth blood?
I have
meth.
both.
You have
I have
both,
shared
okay.
actual meth with Chopper Dave,
Oh.
and the meth blood was just I didn't like play that, but it was on my character sheet to begin with to help me. I think I was going to use it as a weapon or so. Oh, I was going to use it as a combat aid because there are some marginal combat benefits to being on meth.
Oh.
I think you would still need to
You get like
administer it to
+1 to perception rolls or something. Sorry,
yeah, I think
Really?
that's the trade-off. I think a lot of drugs have like a good side effect and a bad side effect. And I think for meth, I think for any kind of speed, you temporarily have one more dot of celerity, but your risk of frenzy is higher. It's something like that.
Oh, sure.
I think you would need
I can't
Yeah.
remember.
you'd need to administer it to a person and drink from them. Or I think it's fair to, if you have blood just in a glass or whatever, you can put whatever into it and drink that blood. But Dave, the airport bar has closed, and Dave is basically taking you on a big walk around the grounds where there's really nobody else around. Just so you two can talk and rage out and throw shit around. And him also being high, he chalks your feats of strength up to like, yeah, this must be really good shit.
Yeah, I got that Walter White.
Lands the helicopter, lifts it.
It's like, wow.
Whoa.
I
All
know for a fact that in preparation for tomorrow, I'd like to, within the range of availability, I need to get a shard of a broken mirror. I'm just gonna...
Really?
Yeah. I'm just gonna choose a mirror in the house and break it and take a shard. Keep that on my person.
You find a small hand mirror in a bathroom that you can, like, fit into a pocket.
Cool. Perfect. Love that for me. If we've got a few hours, if I'm able to both imbue a couple baubles on my person as focus of vitae or vita.
I've heard vitae. I think a Latin nerd would say it's vitae.
Vitae.
Steve, you took Latin, right?
Yeah, actually the E is a more modern Latin. Like the old Latin is I. Anytime you get the AE together, so it'd be vitae.
But I'd like to prep a couple baubles, just to, like, maybe 2 dots worth of blood into those, and then feed. Like, go out, do a little hunting, but I would be willing to wait up for others if they have other things to do before doing so.
Yeah, so you can use principal focus of vitae infusion with 2 of your blood points to store them in... What objects are you going to use?
I'll do one of my Tontos, just because canonically it says it makes the object red in hue and slick. And that's kind of badass. If I don't end up using it for the blood storage, then I just have a red Tonto, which is cool.
That's interesting. And you're already holding it, so you don't have to reach into a pocket to grab something. Assuming you're, like, in combat.
Actually, yeah, make that both Tontos. Both my Tontos will be my focus. Foci?
That sounds super cool.
Yeah, the second you said it, just like, yeah, that sounds way too fucking cool. And then if I'm like, alas, hand-to-hand combat isn't working here, they'll just melt into a pool of blood that I can then absorb and then go back to shooting spells and shit all. Blah.
I think you also have the option to... you can either, like, hold the knives, like, over your mouth and pour the blood into your mouth, or just, like, squirt the blood out of the knives
that's fun.
into something else. You could even ghoul someone or blood bond someone, I suppose, by stabbing them and then releasing the blood.
Oh, that's kind of
so you can choose whether or not to release the blood. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a mental command.
We were never that creative with our Tremere characters with that ritual. That's fucking
Yeah, with
sweet.
me it was just like beads.
That's
Just a
sick.
pocket full of beads.
I heard it as bees, and my first thought was that is extremely cool. Just a pocket bees.
Africanized
Like,
blood
you
bees.
have, like, part of a drop of blood.
This is my Gould swarm of bees!
Yeah!
Which isn't that bad of a concept.
No!
It's
Especially
terrifying.
if whoever that is allergic.
Let's not give Augustyn the idea to start like an apiary, an evil beekeeper.
Or the little bear claws.
concept.
You could.
It would fit perfectly in with the like gardening thing. It's like, I need my evil pollinators, and I'll train them to attack my enemies.
And inject my blood into them.
Oh my god.
He's thinking of how good of an idea this is.
Yeah, that's
And I hate it.
I actually love that. High key.
There
Half
you
the Funny
go.
Nut Cheerios.
From this day forth, Augustyn is bee themed. Okay, so that is what Augustyn is up to. What about Archibald?
Yeah, I'm thinking about leveling up a thing. Except I'm between 2 things. An attribute or a discipline.
Burns?
Disciplines are more fun, attributes are more practical.
Yeah. Except I'm wondering like what is going to like come most in handy for this match that we're about to do. So I don't have enough
Attributes come in way handier.
Yeah.
You use them all the time. Like, they're part of pretty much every challenge is an attribute and an ability combo, or even more frequently, just an attribute. So, like, for someone about to go into something, like, really mental like you are, getting one of those mental attributes to help you with the chess game whether it's wits to react to a fancy player or better perception. Like, I think a mental
So I have a
attribute, if you're trying to,
specialization in wits for
in
games of
chess?
strategy.
Oh, shit.
So
So you already have
essentially,
4
yeah.
wits.
So I
I
think
also
the
have- That's
only I have 4 in wits and 4 in intelligence. So if
Same.
I was going to do one, it would be bumping up my perception. Which
I
I
also
still
have
think could be good because I feel like intelligence and wits is going to be good for the chess game itself, but perception is going to be good to figure out like what tricks she is trying to play around the game.
As somebody who spent like a year saving up to buy 1 attribute dot, I think it's totally worth it. I think attributes are like completely overpowered, and it's the best thing you could buy.
Okay, I'm going to go up to 4 in perception then and spend, what is that, like 20?
What other discipline
4
were you
times the level.
considering?
So it's 4 times 3 is 12.
So 12.
Right?
12 for your 4th dot.
Oh,
I think.
okay. So
If
that's
I'm right,
10
if I wrote
points.
this
No,
down.
that's right. It's 4 times current level for an attribute.
Okay, cool. The discipline I was thinking was my 3rd dot of presence.
That would have been entrancement, which could come in handy. It's kind of like dominate, but instead of issuing a command and they follow that command, you basically make the person kind of briefly fall in love with you. Not necessarily briefly. It could be for up to a year if you have 5 successes.
Well, how many points would that be
The
to
third
do
dot.
3rd of presence?
Third dot of that would be
10?
14 points. Current rating times 5 would be 10. Yeah, so you could afford both.
Oh, damn!
Oh, I could do both?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do both.
The
This
second
is
and
fun.
third dots
See,
of
I like
disciplines,
saving up my
especially in
experience
clan.
forever and ever, and then just doing a big level up like this.
Because
Because I think those two are both very significant things.
Shit. Yeah, that's pretty
Ooh.
significant.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to make Famine fall in love with me.
I think I want to quickly map out kind of where I don't have any like cameras and just kind of keep those notes in mind. But then I also want to like practice my auspex and reading auras. So I want to go outside and like try and read auras of like the crickets and stuff running around, whatever critters, just to practice, as I've never like had fun with it before.
yeah. Well, you find that you can. It's more difficult to detect like the aura of an insect, but if you really focus on it, you can pick up on the auras of any animal in front of you, and you notice that there are slight differences between humans and other animals and supernatural creatures. You even figure out for the first time that you can, instead of looking at a creature or a person and focusing your mind in that weird way that makes the aura pop out, you can look just at an area and sort of unfocus, like uncross your third eye until some aura comes into focus of a creature that you didn't even know was there. You can scan an area and pick up on auras in it.
Hell yeah. There we go. Oh, sweet. So I can just detect when an aura is present that I wasn't aware of before.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, hey, somebody's drumming around the corner.
Yeah, but you have to pick what sort of thing that you are open to. It can't, if you are looking at a specific target, you'll get a bunch of information like shape, color, movement, patterns, all that sort of stuff. If you're just scanning an area, you have to scan for like, is there an animal in this area of the woods? Or is there anything that feels nervous? Or is there a ghoul of some sort here. You have to pick a specific characteristic, and then if anything matches, that aura will pop out, and then you could focus on that aura and maybe get some more information. But as you practice, you're starting to get more of an understanding of like the different dimensions of auras, and that you could pick up on emotional states and supernatural qualities and what kind of a creature they are. And you read your own aura. You sort of like glance in, you're like, oh, I never thought of this. I'll look at myself. And you notice a couple things about yourself that are different from your peers. You have like kind of chaotically swirling colors, and you feel intuitively that represents your derangement that you're dealing with. You see it as kind of a visual representation of your megalomania. Also, you see something kind of alarming. You see these black veins kind of crawling across your aura, sort of like there's something in there that is some form of corruption in your aura that feels like a different thing from your Malkavian stuff. And with everyone else currently present in Darby Manor and everything that you're looking at, you haven't seen these black veins on anyone else.
Oh. Huh. All right. This was not something we talked about before the session. All right. Interesting.
Well, is everyone sticking around in Darby Manor until sunrise, or is there interest in like going to Club Wonderland ahead of time to do something?
I definitely would like to feed to top off, just to be sure that we're the worst to happen. I got plenty of blood to pew pew the QQ.
Pew, pew, the pew, pew.
Yeah, you are 5 blood points down. So if you spend the rest of your time feeding, you can top off, assuming you have a couple successful rolls. Just go ahead and pick an attribute and ability combo that matches your strategy. I think last time you were like trying to run up to people and make friends with them.
Let's try to. If I remember the last time maybe we've done a couple silly ones. The most recent one I remember was it being at Club Wonderland and trying to lure people in the back or to the back, and then feeding on them until they dozed off, and then putting like empty beer cans by them so people just thought they passed out.
Well, let's say you run off to the nearest area where there might still be people at like 4 a.m. Let's say a gas station or something like that. And does it sound right that you might use manipulation plus empathy to try to lure someone away?
That sounds about right.
And I still cannot load Roll20, so you're going to have to just tell me how many successes you got.
It shows I have 3 successes, 1 failure, or 1 major failure, so 2 successes?
Yeah. That is enough for 1 feeding. Give me 1 more roll. I think we're just standardizing this as 3 blood points per feeding if you're not trying to kill anybody.
I'd say my willingness to murder people in the past would be a good indicator, but at the same time, after some of the 2 successes on this one as well.
All right, you are topped off.
Tight.
And that is it for Augustyn. Are Excavo or Archibald doing anything else with their night?
Yes, I wouldn't mind feeding as well, topping myself up.
Sounds like everyone's talking about masturbating.
That too.
Helps you get to sleep.
Just gonna go out and top myself off in the middle of the street.
Oh my God.
All right, give me...
I love that as a euphemism for that. I would like to use one of my many intelligence, one of my many mental attributes.
I'm sorry, what?
What?
One of my many intelligences? What?
One of my many intelligences. That's right. I would like to woo a college student into giving me their blood through my use of academics and intelligence.
All you have to do is give them a free t-shirt.
No, but you also gotta pretend you know anything about politics.
That's literally my specialization.
No.
That to me, that sounds like charisma or manipulation plus academics,
so.
which would be
I'll do
6.
Why not both?
Yeah,
6 dice and a specialization.
So I did
There's
get
a 10.
I did get a 10.
2, 3.
Yeah, I got
Dang.
six successes. 6 successes.
All right, Excavo, you were down 1 blood point. Are you also going to feed?
No, it's just 1 blood point.
Okay.
One of my flaws is I'm kind of lazy.
All right, so that sounds like it's it for tonight.
I think so.
And where does Darby crash? Sorry, sleep. Never has
so
crashed.
Good question. What is Chopper Dave's living situation?
He has a house, a modest house that he owns, not far from the airport, and he does offer
Like
you a couch to
crash
crash on.
pad?
Yeah.
He lives with the mom.
Oh, God damn it!
Yeah, I mean, I think Darby just tries to insinuate himself into. I mean, does he have a basement where I can feel reliably safe from getting into the sunlight?
He offers you a couch that is in his living room, next to a lot of windows and not much in terms of curtains. It does not strike you as, if you accept the offer as given, you think you will die.
Yeah, so I'm negotiating, and I couch this in terms of just weird meth
Couch it.
paranoia, and I just tell him straight up, "I ain't sleeping in front of them windows, Chief. Hell no, they're coming for me, bro." And I assume he's going to understand that and find a safer place for me to snooze.
He gets a little nervous and he starts to interrogate you about exactly what kind of heat is in Darby's life. Like if he has a warrant out for him or something like that.
Oh, no, nothing like that. Not the law. Something more sinister.
This does not assuage his fears at all.
I don't know what to tell you, boss. There's some bad shit out there, and it's coming.
He starts to suggest that maybe an Uber and a motel might be more comfortable for Darby.
Darby's starting to think about like where he could go to stay out of the sun and not see these other people that he hates. And so,
Oh no!
so I think that he goes to Club Wonderland because he recalls that there were some living spaces in Club Wonderland in the back that they saw on their tour. Or at least like a lot of private places that he could definitely crash without seeing the sun. Not a lot of sun at Club Wonderland. So he goes there.
I don't think we ever explicitly said that anyone got keys to Club Wonderland, but I think it's Archibald has met
still be
with the manager Marcia a time or two, and it makes sense that keys would have been transferred. And if that's the case, yeah, Darby would have had keys. So yeah, Darby is in the basement of Club Wonderland, safe and sound, not a single window in sight.
And just for everyone else's benefit, I'm snoozing in the room full of weapons. I'm just throwing that out there for no reason or
There's a
context at
weapon
all.
room?
Just
At Club
yeah, that's where
Wonderland?
those Tontos came from way back in the day. That's where I'm where I'm asleep.
The
2
hat.
weeks ago. Oh man.
Hat room. That's right. The hat wanted to come home, and that's where we're at.
The hat room. I thought that your David Attenborough would have come out when you said, "Oh, there's something much worse. Climate change." I can't be by the window.
That would be funny. It would have freaked Dave out too much, I think, so probably good. Good we didn't play it that way.
All right, well, everyone goes to sleep. Everyone spends 1 blood to wake up. Everyone regains 1 willpower. Everyone is at full willpower now. Excavo, you have what is now a very familiar dream. You're in this black void. The floor is all little shards of broken glass. You see this hill you can walk up. At the top of the hill, there's this full-length mirror with the frame adorned with stylized question marks. Inside the mirror is your own mute reflection that is just standing there waiting for you. And it seems to be waiting for you to ask it a yes or no question. And it appears to be the source of some source of truth that can answer your questions.
Okay.
This, by the way, isn't anything from any of the books, but it's something that used to be in the LARP that Steve and I played. It was, I think, a homebrewed rule that said that, I forget if you had to buy something onto your character sheet or not, but specifically Malkavians had the ability to ask the storyteller 1 yes or no question per game and get the correct answer. And it was potentially game-breaking. But
should I play the Sicilian game?
Oh no. Okay.
Chess reference.
It's a yes or no question. I could literally ask if Archibald is going to win the chess game tomorrow.
I like that.
That's what I
think
ask.
about it. Oh, we just went for it. Okay.
Because I'm in a dream state. I'm like, that's what I'm thinking about.
Well, normally I am not able to provide answers to questions about what will happen in the future if you guys have an impact on the outcome of future events. But your reflection shakes its head no.
Oh, no. Wait. But they didn't say I lose either.
It's just that he doesn't win the chess game.
Your question was whether or not he would win the chess game tomorrow.
Against Famine. Or whoever.
Yeah.
I think it was understood that was the one you were referring to.
The chess game, yes.
Yeah. Your reflection shakes its head no, and you suddenly fall through the ground, and you land hard in your bed with little superficial cuts on you, and you hear the sound of 1,000 little shards of mirror falling all around you, but you look around and you don't see anything.
Oh no.
Augustyn.
Oh no!
No, that's fine.
You're walking up the road to Darby Manor. The autumn leaves crunch under your feet. Despite, you went to sleep in May, now you look around and it's clearly fall, indicating time has passed. You've been in New Cammack for half a year now. For the last week, you've been scouring the entire city, hunting in far-flung corners of the map and any unexplored neighborhood, trying to find any prey that can sustain you. You've practically abandoned thaumaturgy, as burning any blood would only seem to hasten your starvation. Barry Bilson has fled the city. Leslie and Elizabeth drained their revenants and then went into torpor. Jeffrey Lamprey disappeared. In the past week, you drained your bear cub in a blind, hungry panic. Yes, just as Darby did to his squirrel.
I didn't know you could do that.
You can feed on animals. It's half as nourishing, but yeah. But it didn't help. No one can gain any nourishment from mortal blood. You've been exploring possible magical means of reversing the ritual, but you estimate that without a way to feed, you'll starve before you can make any breakthrough. You open the door and walk into the manor, dejected. Excavo is there, doing whatever it is that she's always doing on her laptop. Archibald is trying to distract himself from this nightmare by keeping his nose in a book. And Darby is growing increasingly manic every night as he struggles to make his car bed functional, somehow convinced that it could be used in some sort of loophole to your blood contract that would allow you to escape this cursed city. You walk into Darby's room to check in on your best friend and offer him kind, intelligible words and sound advice, as you always do. But as you begin to speak, the hydraulics under his car bed give out, causing a bladed hubcap to slice Darby's arm, spraying a small bit of his blood across your face. You instinctively taste it, and your eyes go wide as you taste real, nourishing, uncursed blood for the first time in a week. You lock eyes with Darby, and this realization is instantly communicated. Sensing a plot point, Archibald and Excavo look up to see you tasting this blood with a look of dreadful understanding setting in. In that moment, all four of you realize that the only way to survive is to drain each other. Somehow...
Also, can we be clear that in each other's vision, we each appear as a delicious food. So when Augustyn's looking at Darby, all he sees
I'm
is
like
a
a
large...
sandwich.
It's like a large glazed ham.
Like pancakes.
So you realize that somehow vampire blood is completely exempt from this curse. And Augustyn, you realize that the only way to give yourself enough time to create a magical solution to this curse is to drain Archibald, Darby, and Excavo. Roll for initiative.
Good fucking luck, Chief.
What, just 1d10?
Wait, this isn't a dream, right? Do we all roll?
This is a dream, but you are all participants in the dream, playing yourselves.
As my weapon, I get out my large curly bendy straw, and then immediately trip and stab myself on it because I got a 1.
Oh, right. Let's go.
Okay, so let's speed through this nonsense. This is a dream, so we could use dream logic, dream rules, hammer space. And we are all
Bring a
in.
club sandwich.
We're all in Darby's room with the understanding that to survive you'll have to drain each other. Excavo, what do you declare?
So we've all come to the same realization. Okay, no offense to anybody. I assume Augustyn is probably the weakest. Because I know Archibald and Darby have like wild strength out the wazoo, and they usually burn for celerity, all this stuff. Like, all right, Archibald, I'm gonna go after you. It's either you or me, and I'm pretty impatient. Impatient is one of my flaws, so I'm gonna go after you. I'm gonna try and drain you first before anybody else tries to drain me.
All right, Archibald, what are you doing?
I don't want to taste Darby's meth blood, and I don't want to taste Augustyn's Italian blood. And by that I mean...
do you want my Malkavian blood? I'm
tomato-rich
trying to
blood.
sell you on going to someone else.
I'm trying to get Excavo.
No!
My idea here is this going to be a fun circle.
Oh, by the way, you all had 3 blood points. Just so that's declared.
Like out of all of them, we only have 3. Yikes. Okay.
All right, you're draining Excavo. Augustyn, what are you doing?
Having seen Archibald trip over his hammer as he was trying to equip it, seizing the moment, I produce a pine cone from my presumably endless supply of seeds in my utility
Dream
pants. Pull a pine cone out of my dream pants and prepare to insert it into a facial orifice, screaming bloody murder as I erupt his skull with a fervent Speed of Seasons Passing cast.
Who's Augustyn attacking?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm attacking Archibald.
Oh.
Okay. And Darby. What are you doing?
I am driving my race car onto the ceiling, at which point I am essentially trying to recreate the injury that Augustyn suffered in the MKT. So I'm like flashing back his brutal plummet and injury from the NKT, and so that's what I'm going
Use
for.
the memories against him.
That's right.
Okay, you're hitting him with your car bed.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Give me a something plus drive. I'd say wits or dexterity, but you have 4 dots and both.
Same dots, yeah.
So yeah, roll.
Dex would give me celerity too. Celerity bonus as well.
Does anybody sleep walk?
Dex.
I'll accept a dexterity for that. So,
I have just made an absurd.
Oh my god, that is absurd.
3 10s. Out of 9 dice, it's 8 successes. 8 successes with 3 10s, and hot damn.
Okay, you fully bisect Augustyn, though his top half is still in play, except with some significant wound penalties. We'll say.
So he's like a fountain. Okay, so I
open my mouth. I open my mouth as I drive by.
I think we all play in the sprinkler here.
I presume that my newfound situation is if my top half is in play, my torso is probably a hood ornament. So with Darby's mouth agape absorbing my blood, I take the opportunity as best I can to change targets and shove said pine cone into Darby's mouth to cast.
Can he do that when he's bisected? I know it's dream logic though.
I don't think. Okay, a few things. One, Darby catches a single point of blood. Augustyn retains the other 2. You can't change your action after it's declared unless if you're changing it to a defensive action. Then it is. Then that is allowed if you spend a point of willpower. So at the moment you are still targeting Archibald. Okay.
Well, then I will stay the course. Hopefully, with the rain of blood, his mouth is open. Regardless, I'm still going for whichever orifice seems the most welcoming to pine cones.
Whichever's the most welcoming. I am drinking blood of Augustyn, playing in the sprinkler.
Go ahead and just give me an intelligence plus occult roll for your thaumaturgy. We'll skip over some steps.
Ooh,
we're looking 10? At a 1, 10, 1, 7, and 1. So 1 success.
Okay. You shove the pine cone into Archibald's mouth, and it sprouts in a way that prevents him from talking, but has pretty much no other effect.
Meaningful. Okay.
And you are down to 1 blood now. Archibald, give me. Usually feeding is 1 roll for grabbing and a 2nd roll for biting. Let's just combine that into a single roll. Give me dexterity plus brawl to start feeding from Excavo.
Oh no!
I think it's 7 dice for you. And just a reminder, whenever we're doing combat scenes,
that's 5.
You
7
could.
Dice.
Sorry, that includes 2 for celerity.
I just rolled 5 already, so I just rolled 2 more.
Sure.
2 more? Yeah.
But keep in mind, you can declare defensive actions. You can say that you're spending your whole turn defending, dodging, blocking, parrying. You could also, if you want to attack, but you still want to have the option to defend against stuff, you can split your dice pool and say, I'm spending this number of dice trying to punch this guy, spending this number of dice trying to dodge gunfire from them. You can be like, a tank and just be like, I don't spend any dice on defense. I'm just going to depend on my stamina to soak stuff. But it is an option to do that, and oftentimes a good one.
What's the difficulty on that roll?
Standard difficulty.
7?
Okay.
6.
6. Okay, I have 4 successes.
Damn!
So I eat Excavo in one bite, just whole.
So with only 3 blood points, is anybody frenzied? Do we have to roll for that? Because we're very hungry?
Not.
I mean, we're all just actively attacking each other anyway, so it's like pretty frenzied.
We're already frenzied. Okay.
Yeah. I have unhinged my jaw like a crocodile, and I am just trying to like consume Excavo.
I'm
trying to just drink the fountain that is Augustyn.
Oh my god.
So it's an infinite blood loop. So the blood is going through you, and then
am I drinking more?
And then just
to
into
feed
me.
Archibald versus what I need.
If we all just keep drinking each other, we are a perpetual motion.
We're just like in a circle.
We will never die.
That's how it works.
The blood's just moving from one vampire to another in a circle.
So you drain all 3 points from Excavo, and Excavo immediately goes into a hunger frenzy.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
And...
But I'm feeding off of Augustyn. So am I getting any points back from that?
It's like human centipede.
There's 1 blood point left in Augustyn that you could potentially get from him.
I want it.
I have like
point.
at least like the both legs just like like up to your torso. I am just consuming.
Oh my! You're just crushing me with your body, and you're taking all my blood, and I don't have a lot to take.
And I feel like this is a dream, so I feel like I actually am just doing croc jaw.
But do we know it's a dream?
We don't need to.
Do the dream people know it's a dream?
Stuff. Yeah.
No, are we lucid dreaming?
I guess if you have that discipline.
Do the dream people know that they're in a dream, man?
We gotta go deeper.
Oh my god.
Well, Excavo, you are... give me a dexterity plus brawl roll. That's going to be 4 dice for you.
Oh, that did not feel very good.
Nope.
I did not succeed. I got an 8 and a 1.
Well, you launch...
Oh, no.
You launch at Augustyn and attempt to feed from him, but you kind of dive right in between his 2 halves as he gets bisected. And
my god, that's right. He's been bisected.
And you miss him.
Like a drink from?
You miss him entirely, and being out of blood and landing hard, somehow the whole thing sends you into torpor, and you go night-night for the rest of this scene, for the sake of expediency.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Archibald, you just successfully drained...
like the Kool-Aid Man.
You drained Excavo. What do you declare now? What action?
I've got
3
so
points
much
for me?
blood. I'm moving on to the rest of them.
You got 6 out of however many.
And say Augustyn has 1 more, did you say?
Yeah.
And
it's just like on the floor. He's bisected.
Actually, vampire blood doesn't leak out of wounds the way human blood does. It takes, unless there's some like really violent injury, like some blood might come out. But if you cut off a vampire's arm, it won't squirt or anything because there isn't blood pressure, really.
Oh, I thought he was like cut in half. Like,
oh
that
no,
seemed
like
a lot.
in the middle.
Oh, in the middle.
Along
Hamburger
the tummy.
style, not hot dog style.
Okay, I get it.
okay, I have now. I'm just like gulping down the rest of Excavo.
Oh no!
Like swallowing her whole inside of my like new weird snaky tummy.
Oh,
and I
like
just
diablerizing her?
Snaky tummy.
Oh,
I
like
can
her body.
And that, yes, I've consumed her entire body, and I'm now just like slithering farther on the floor over to where Augustyn is, and I'm going to slurp him up along with his blood now.
Okay. Augustyn, yeah, what do you do?
Having
I'm
seen
just saying
the
the pine code should have interfered with the feeding before, but it magically doesn't.
Well, I
go
just
into his
opened
mouth
my
and seeing it grow.
snake jaw so big it just popped in whole.
You just unhinge and try to eat Augustyn whole?
In
Yeah, like I just did to you.
In the bloodless brain stupor of having only 1 point of blood left, I see the pine cone go into his mouth. I feel the cast go off. I see it sprout a little bit, and I go, man, why didn't I think of that? And shove a pine cone into my mouth, and with my last blood point, attempt to cast Speed of Seasons Passing to feed myself a pine cone, a big pine cone.
Okay.
So you just like make the pine cone bigger? I don't understand.
No, I think he's trying to grow a tree from his own body.
A bunch of trees, I guess.
Oh my god!
And Darby, what are you doing?
I am now wielding Augustyn's legs as its own set of weapons, and I am going to be kicking Augustyn's ass with his ass. Is my I'm swinging.
I guess that's one thing
like
I was curious about. Is he Darby or is he David Attenborough?
He's still
in
Thurgood.
The dream.
In Thurgood's
he's
body.
Still...
Yeah, I look like Thurgood. And yeah, I'm swinging a disemboweled ass at just right at your pine cone face. Just as hard as I can. I'm trying to make you kiss your own ass with a pine cone.
Did you imagine being hit with your own butt?
Well, you're about to imagine it.
Give me a melee plus dexterity roll. That's going to be 7. If you're not burning for celerity, that is going to be 8 dice.
I'm not.
I was just thinking, Darby spending all of his blood on celerity would be the perfect dick move. You're not getting my blood.
Oh man, 2 more 10s. I'm rolling so fucking well. 2 10s and 2 7s.
Only I can use my blood.
Go ahead and give me...
I'm actually not sure if I get a specialty in swinging ass. Probably not.
You hit Augustyn with his own ass so hard that... Would it make sense for his head...
Let your imagination run wild, Graham.
You slam his ass down on his head hard enough that it rips through his pants and his head disappears up his own ass. And for a brief moment, he's kind of like squirming around. He's just on his torso stump. And you see his ass envelops his own head right as he's doing something with a pine cone. You don't know what, and their gestures and incantations. His head goes up his own butt, and then you see Augustyn kind of and then all of a sudden a full pine tree sprouts out of the other side of his ass, splitting his head and his ass and everything apart in just an explosion of pine and gore. And Augustyn wakes up and gives us a willpower roll. Difficulty of 7 to determine how traumatized he is by this dream that he had.
We have a pine tree here. We might just put some fake blood on it just for this scene.
Well, you guys don't know about this.
Just
silly.
Just to back
It's
that
all
up.
the dream.
I went ahead and rolled for casting speed of seasons passing and actually got 10, 8, 7, 8, 6.
Oh,
and
of course.
No 1. So, like,
Hmm.
yeah.
You would have made a big ass tree.
Giant fucking tree erupting from my dead face. Willpower
Oh, God.
roll. So difficulty 7?
7.
Copy. Rolling. A 10, 9, 8, and no 1s. So I'm fine.
Oh,
Whoa.
you found that nightmare entertaining, not traumatizing. You processed it quite well.
You love the sensation of all of your friends, well, at least the friends you've had for the last 2 weeks, trying to kill one another. You love
Yeah.
it.
Of course. Who wouldn't?
So you all wake up the next day. Augustyn feeling surprisingly refreshed, rolling very well on his nightmare roll. And the beds that you ordered like a couple beds to be
It was like,
mailed to be shipped to Darby Manor. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like a gesture of goodwill. I gave them some amount of money for a couple beds to start on the promise that I would come back to negotiate a deal, but I did buy a couple beds to be shipped.
Yep. 2 full beds show
Oh, you
up,
can do
mattress, box spring, bed frame, and they threw
do they
in
come with like a sheet set?
mattress protectors, but not sheets. You're
Okay,
not in their
cool.
good graces that much. And Darby, you wake up in Club Wonderland. Actually, a few times throughout the day as Darby was sleeping, staff walk through and like open the door and ask you some sort of question. And you barely wake up just enough to kind of like wave them off. And you have a vague memory of some commotion of like, who's this guy? Oh, wait, yeah, that's one of the new owners. I guess leave him alone. And when the sun sets, you wake up surrounded by exotic weaponry from other countries. And everyone's awake.
Mattress of rifles.
Darby loads up like really anything he can scrape off the wall into duffel bags. Just clank, 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 clank. Just ruining the artful display. Just stuffing things in duffel bags.
As if
That
we do
sounds
not
right.
have a gun store.
We own a gun
in our
store.
position.
That's right. That's right.
Like,
We own one of those.
A gun store they haven't checked up on in a while. So let's say you do find duffel bags somewhere around there for some reason. Let's say, having worked in a bar before, liquor companies just send you branded merchandise like crazy. So let's say in a corner of the basement, there are several boxes just full of Jägermeister swag, and you find several
Like totes
Jägermeister
and stuff.
duffel
Yeah.
bags.
a Jägermeister
I
bed.
stuff them
Right.
to the brim with the like. Darby doesn't have the right skill set to evaluate what weapons are good or not, so he's going by like what he's seen on Ninja Turtles and stuff, like really like bad criteria to evaluate what to grab. It's essentially anything he can recognize from pop culture. That's what he's prioritizing, and he's stuffing that into, say, 2 duffel bags. I don't even really intend to do anything with this. Like, Darby's just, like, mad, and he's like, I know what I need. I need all this shit. I'm going to need it all. And so he's...
I know what I need. I need everything.
Well, you actually already had a nunchaku from the wall, but you can also grab a sai, a katana, and actually the katana and any kind of staff wouldn't fit into a duffel bag, but you can just carry it out anyway.
Yeah, the katanas he's carrying and the sais for sure are in the mix.
I think there's a bow. There's a literal bow staff, 6-foot wooden pole that you can grab. Do you get that too?
Now he's using that like a walking stick now as well. Yeah, he's leaning into full Ninja Turtle.
Well, you have the whole set.
Man.
I got the
Straight
whole
from
fucking
the
set.
sewers.
Darby takes off his belt and he carves out little eye holes in the leather and he wraps it around his
no,
head.
he does not.
I thought you were going to say you're going to put a big D in the belt buckle, like in a cartoon.
Oh no, that would have been funny too.
Related?
No. Yeah, no, I'm going with the eye mask.
Okay. Which of the Ninja Turtles do you see Darby patterning himself after the most?
Darby
Maybe we should
Tello.
take a personality test for this.
Darby Tello. Actually, I think that's probably right. I think, Darby's secret nature that has not been revealed to
He does
everyone
machines.
else. Yeah, I actually think Don is definitely his go-to, but he has some aspects of Raph as well.
Yeah, I was
See,
gonna say.
Michelangelo just like to eat pizza.
Yeah, that'd be like if Darby's thing were like pot instead of meth, then he'd be like more like Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I want to say Darby's Donatello, Archibald's Leonardo.
Yeah.
I think the chaotic nature of Augustyn makes him more Raphael, and then Excavo.
Raphael was a rebel.
Oh no,
I'm Michelangelo.
No, I would say Excavo because there's darkness in her heart. Is like some malice, the megalomania. There's scheming and all that. I'd say that makes me think more Raphael, and then Augustyn with just no filter whatsoever, and just following his caprice would be more Michelangelo.
I really thought that Augustyn was kind of a master or a shredder. He's like sort of shredder. He'll be evil and carve out.
I kind of thought I was Shredder.
Like it's pretty much just full on shredder.
We're both Shredder. I think
Shredder
I'm the better
that gardens.
Shredder, but I'm
That's
not.
pretty much his entire thing. Yeah.
Shredder, but better.
Okay. Well, I
Better
think this
with
is.
Shredder. Yeah.
I think it's a good place to stop. I think the only other things that I would say are Darby. This doesn't have any mechanical effect, but you happen to get not very good sleep because all throughout the afternoon, you were hearing just a lot of commotion. It sounds like right overhead. They were doing a lot of setup work for some big concert that was happening. You hear like speakers being rolled around. You hear some really loud fan blowing for a really long time. And it sounds really confusing until you overhear someone say something about like, hey, is that bounce castle inflated yet? And
What?
Yeah.
At this bar?
Darby getting bad sleep is just enough to make him like extra angry.
He loses an extra
like
blood
a
point
little
or something.
crotchetier.
Okay, well, I think that is it for this session. The next one will start with the much anticipated chess date at Club Wonderland.
Oh my god, it's finally happening.
This has
I
been like,
know!
is this the longest awaited?
I know.
plot
I
point?
offered my help. Like,
And I am officially buying my 6th dot of strength
Oh,
today.
shit.
After this session, I have enough.
6?
I have 6 fucking dots of strength. Look
They
at
go
me
that
go.
high?
Only if you're a Methuselah, motherfucker.
So, all of your attributes, other than humanity and willpower, are limited according to your generation. And for everyone else, all the way up to like 8th generation, the limit is 5. That's why all your character sheets stop at 5. Generally, player characters, unless if they lose generation through diablerie, or gain a generation, or however you'd phrase that, they can't get to 7th generation, which increases several things, including the attribute cap. Darby, being now effectively 7th generation, can raise anything up to 6 dots, including virtues, attributes, abilities, disciplines. So that's nightmarish.
And I've chosen to use my first iteration of this absurd amount of strength on strength itself. And so I'm just the raw fucking brute
He's not
power.
trying to go into my territory, like intelligence and like computers and all that. That's my realm.
That doesn't sound like a Darby move.
Right.
Because of the Thurgood influence, he did pick up his second dots of perception and intelligence, but that's as high as it's going to get. I'm so jacked. I don't know what the practical impact of that is going to be. I can't wait to flex my even more superhuman strength.
You're the team's Hulk at the moment for...
I can't wait for it either. I'm excited.
For strength-based things, you have 7 dots plus whatever ability you're using. So if you're just doing like a straight feat of strength, so like strength plus athletics, that would be 11 dice.
This makes me think of...
and that's without spending
when
any
Captain
blood.
America was like ripping apart logs with his bare hands instead of chopping them.
What's the scene cap if I spent blood for that attribute? 10?
You can spend blood to get an attribute at least temporarily up to 10, a physical attribute.
Oh, man. Mm-mm.
For a scene? How long does it last?
I think you can go 1 above...
Whenever the DM says so.
1 above your generational maximum for a scene. And then if it's more than that, that is only for a limited number
for
of
an
turns.
action. Okay.
But you can spend a point and get and have effectively 7 strength dots for a whole scene.
Huh.
That's fucking insane. That is insane.
Bit apart logs.
Do not...
I'm telling you.
Boy, I'd feel really kind of nervous if I had just like publicly and viciously crossed Darby in some way. Anyway, I'll just leave you guys at that one. Hey, have a nice night. This was fun.
Oh no! It's literally 2 texts. Don't hurt me.
Yeah, this is going to be... Darby's going to throw a
I
hippo
said
at someone.
I was just kidding. Oh no!
It's cool.
Oh, no.
Jade will bust in at the last second to save us.
Yeah, where's Jade? I am so excited
Jade Ex
for
Machina,
Jade to come
I
back because
can't
we
wait,
haven't killed her off yet.
Jade just never shows back up.
Jade is somewhere.
Jade is
we
definitely
haven't killed
somewhere.
her off yet.
You
She
haven't.
is somewhere. I know exactly.
Oh no.
Jade was
Yes,
scamming the
exactly.
whole time. No.
So Darby and Archibald have spent their points. Augustyn, you have 2 points. I don't think there's really anything you can spend that on.
It's uncharacteristic. I've actually been using them recently. So
yeah. You have 2 fun new thaumaturgy powers that you've spent points on, and you're just waiting to go to the chantry and learn. Conjuration and transmutation. That brings us to Excavo, who has 6 points to spend. Do you have any spending intentions?
I don't right now. I think I want to save them. I'm not really sure what I want to spend them on. I don't think I earned anything this last session to spend them on that. Yeah, I want to save them.
You could save up for, you would qualify for your 3rd dot of Auspex before long.
Yeah.
And that would
How many
cost...
points is that?
That would be 10 points,
10.
which you can get in another couple sessions. And I think the 3rd dot of Auspex is...
current level times 5. Okay.
3rd dot is it Spirit's Touch? Yeah, Spirit's Touch. You can handle an object and read the psychic impressions that other people who have handled or been around that object have left on it.
That is interesting to me, but yeah, that takes a few more points, so I'm going to save mine.
Can be handy for investigation kind of stuff. And it's definitely handy for eventually getting the 3rd dot of Auspex, which is telepathy, which is super handy. And then eventually the 5th dot, psychic projection, which is kind of game breaking.
I had that with one of my old characters. Outrageous.
You can just be an invisible ghost spying on anything that you want to. and you could travel 1,000 miles an hour as a ghost. It's silly.
That and obfuscate, like, put them together. I can be anywhere and know everything.
Yeah, you could obfuscate your
For
body
now.
while your spirit goes around. Cool, well, that's it.
I'm going to save them.
Any feedback about tonight's session or questions or comments about what's coming up next?
I will say, like, we did not discuss the... it was just kind of a random thing for me to be like, yeah, I'm going to practice my auspex when I'm, like, out here in the backyard, like, looking at crickets or whatever. And, like, I did not expect the black veins thing to come along. So I'm going to have to explore that. It's really cool.
Well, that is a thing. If you want some spoilers, you could read through the book and see what that means. But it would make sense that Excavo wouldn't immediately know, like, oh, black veins, that means this.
Yeah.
She could guess what it means. She could even ask other people who, like other vampires who are older and wiser. But yeah, at first glance,
is it strictly Malkavian, or do I feel like people, not people, vampires at the Chantry would know what that is?
You might.
Wouldn't she see it in my aura too when we hang out?
We have a level 1 bond.
You were not present when she was doing this stuff.
We do have a level 1 bond, but next, like, now that I'm with you the next evening, like, you might get. Would
he know what I saw? Is that how it works?
No.
No,
that's
I'm
something,
talking like something you would see. We'll do it next time.
It's something that might come up later. But you, let's say you would have at least, you'd have reason to believe that Tremere might also have auspex. Like you've heard some rumors, something about like Tremere having heightened senses or something. So you put it together that they might also be good people to ask about if you just have auspex questions.
So the next time we're over there, I might say something.
But what are the odds you guys are going to visit the Tremere Chantry again?
We're there like every other session.
Yeah, it's become. I didn't mean for them to be the only quest givers of the game, but.
Oops.
They're there.
Blake, is that a cowboy hat on your wall?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Duh.
Like,
Put your
I
cowboy
have
hat.
Where's your
In case
cowboy
I need
hat?
to do cowboy stuff. It's ready to go.
I mean...
I also have the dumbest hat in the universe on my wall over there.
What's that?
I shouldn't have said that. Now I have to go get it.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, please go get it. Oh! Is Graham also getting a hat?
I thought I had a dumb hat too. I used to collect dumb hats for.
You guys can't see the material that this is made of.
Is that like a bowler hat?
But it's
It's
it's like a nearly corduroy weird thing.
You have a corduroy.
It's
like made of
it's
paper
not
mache or
quite.
something.
It's really weird and
It's
dumb.
definitely got like them corduroy ridges, you know.
I got it specifically because it's one of the dumbest hats I've ever seen in my life.
It's impressively done.
I was commenting on the white one. I didn't even see that one.
But it's the kind of dumb that if you wear it confidently, somehow like wraps around to being like cool.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you're gonna be
Pull it
like
off.
Billie Eilish or Lorde.
I
They
put
can
that
wear whatever
to
they
the
want,
test.
and it'll be cool.
In
Billie Eilish
in
would
college,
wear
I
that
would
hat.
wear the old man fit over sunglasses and just
Oh, man.
I literally
just
still wear those.
confidently, just all the time I had those, and I'm like, what? I make this work. I would say that exact quote, and I would tell people that I made it work, and it did not breathe that into existence. I did not make it work. I just
They make it
believed
cooler now.
hard that I could pull it off. Negative.
They make
Negative. I
like
look like an old-
sunglasses that have it. They look like normal sunglasses, but they have like a lip, and they just sit on top of your normal glasses. Like,
Oh,
I got those ones too. I'm talking
I
about.
like the ones
I wanted
that
the blue
flip up.
blockers. Yeah. Oh, I had the ones with the peripheral vision protection. You know, they were like
oh
the
no!
big old panels on the side over here.
Hell yeah.
like you're going to be
Forget
welding.
your peripheral vision.
Nice.
I'll leave you with that
y'all-
mental image. Fun session. See y'all
Y'all
next
have
time.
a real one.
Love you guys. Awesome sesh.
Bye.
Bye, folks.